A 1990 graduate of Franklin Marshall College, Dr. Brian Powell has served Gilman in many capacities since his arrival at Gilman over 20 years ago. Dr. Powell currently serves as assistant head of our lower school, but he's taught everything there is to teach in the lower school: resource teacher, homeroom teacher in the 3rd and 5th grade, I had him for 3rd, including reading, math, spelling, social studies, and geography, among other studies. Additionally, he's fulfilled leadership roles as a coordinator for curriculum development, teacher evaluation, scheduling, and professional development. For 8 years, Dr. Powell has served as director of Gilman's summer session and summer programs, and within that time has also taught a graduate course on American education at the George Washington University. He also currently serves on Gilman's Academic Council and the Maryland State Professional Standards and Teacher Education Board, where he reviews issues, state policies, and regulations concerning teacher certification standards and preparation. Dr. Powell holds advanced degrees in curriculum and instruction from both Loyola University and the George Washington University. And this summer, we are sad to say farewell to Dr. Powell, as he will depart Gilman to assume the position of the lower school director at St. Paul's School. And while we are sad to see him go, we wish him the very best. To introduce President Porterfield, please welcome Dr. Brian Powell.
Good morning, gentlemen. As Robert was reading that stuff, I was like, who's that guy? It didn't sound like me, but thanks, Robert, for that great introduction. I really appreciate it. All right, so I have been given the honor of introducing Dr. Daniel Porterfield, and it's a great honor for me, given that I am a graduate of Franklin and Marshall. Dr. Daniel Porterfield assumed the presidency of Franklin and Marshall College on March 1st, 2011. Since then, he has recruited some of the most talented and diverse classes in its history, an accomplishment realized in part through significant increases in F&M's financial aid expenditures and broader outreach to promising students in underserved communities. He's a scholar of English, teaches literature courses dealing with human rights and education and social justice. He is a frequent contributor to national dialogue on issues like the value of liberal arts, college access, and the impact of technology on higher education. He's a native of Baltimore and was awarded a Rhodes Scholarship and a Mellon Fellowship in the Humanities. He earned his Ph.D. at the City University of New York Graduate Center, got his B.A. from Georgetown University. I now present to you Dr. Daniel Porterfield.
It's great to be here, Carl. Thank you for the invitation. Brian, great to see what you're doing with your academic education. We got 4 who are teachers at this school who are working in college counseling. We got Anna, we got Nick, we got Chris, and we got Brian. And I'm here because I love Baltimore. I'm from Baltimore. I've been on this campus many times when I was in high school. A lot of Gilman kids go to F&M, and I know just what high quality education that you offer. It's very fun for me to bring one of my friends here, Judge Sylvester Cox, who's Gilman, class 1976, F&M class 1980. And if you're thinking about a career in law, making a difference in public service, fixing some of the problems that we have in society, you got Judge Cox right here as a great alum of your school. And maybe next time I'll sit there, you give the talk, or we'll play off the Q&A for a few minutes. Thank you for coming, Sylvester. I want to ask you, and talk for a couple minutes to ask some questions. The first thing I want to do now is I want to ask each of you to think of a question, or an answer to this question, which is, what are you going to do to make the world better with your Gilman education and your college education? I'm going to call on a couple of you in a minute. What are you going to do, big or small, to make this world a better place with this great education you're privileged to have here and at the next stage of your life? To help you think about that, I want to do an exercise. An imaginative exercise. Get you thinking about the power and the value of education and the precious opportunities that we have. Let's imagine that this is the entire population of the world. All 7 billion people is us in this room, this auditorium. Every single human being on every continent, of all ages, all 7 billion participants in our shared humanity. Now, let me ask everybody on that side and everybody in the middle, stand up. represent 5.2 billion people on the planet Earth. 80% of our population that will never travel more than 100 miles from your place of birth in your entire life. Okay, you can sit down. Now, can I ask the middle? You all stand up. You represent 3.3 billion people, almost half of the world's population who live on $2 a day or less. Half of you live on $1 a day or less. Everybody over here stand up, and everybody in the aisle too. You represent 15% of the world's population. 785 million people who do not have access to clean water or clean sanitation. Okay. Thank you. Now, could everybody whose name is Robert Popovich please stand up? Robert, you represent 0.0001% of the world's population that has the opportunity to go to a top 100 American college or university. 0.001% of this great globe's population. And in fact, I'm very proud that you're going to Franklin Marshall College. Great feature. We have unparalleled opportunities to the great sources of American higher education, all of us, a small part of the world's population. And what we do with our learning may well help solve some of those problems and let us all be on our feet a moment ago. So let's go fast. Who has a problem or that you want to solve with your education? And I'm going to cold call, and I've always cold called the people that don't look at me. What problem do you want to solve?
I like to sing, so I like to solve the problem of, I don't know, entertaining people. That's kind of what I want to do with my life, so.
Fantastic. Who else has an idea? Something you want to solve? Looking for a hand.
I guess hunger in the world that we
We want to contribute to solving the problem of hunger in the world. You have to learn something to do that, don't you? How about you? Something different you want to make in the world.
A lot of people have this idea that beef jerky isn't healthy. I know for a fact that it's very healthy. It's not healthy. I'm going to start beef jerky. And offer people a healthy alternative.
Hey, well, you get my point. There is tremendous opportunity in front of you and tremendous need in this world. And as young educated students, that opportunity to develop yourself and to make a difference is right in front of you. Just like Judge Cox. It is right in front of you. Just like the teachers who are here now. Right in front of you. How will you pursue your education? I want to invite you to think about a question or two just like you asked me about higher education in America, about colleges and universities, about the things to be thinking about as you start to plan for college, either as a senior who's been accepted and has made a choice, or maybe is still deciding, or as a junior who's starting to work through the questions of where you want to visit this summer, having chosen your courses for next year, or the sophomore, student courses, and starting to think about, is it time to think about college, or as a freshman, with so many adjustments to high school behind you, now ready to start to really aspire. I want you to think about the questions while I offer you quickly a thought on, from 15 years of teaching at Georgetown and F&M, of 3 ways that I see kids, just like you, creating for themselves an extraordinary education. One so powerful that they feel different and bigger and better because they pursued their education the way they did. And one that, ways of pursuing education that will allow them to be the kinds of difference makers inside each one of us wants to be. And the first one I would say is that when you are in the setting of college, that it is so important that you take the opportunity to go directly to the faculty, just as you do now, as you're being taught to do, directly to your professors, and engage with them directly at the level of what do they do when they create knowledge, when they solve problems and answer questions. And what I've been able to see in my career already is how unbelievably satisfying it is to move from being the one that answers the professor's questions, which everybody does, to the one that asks questions no one's ever thought to pose before and find answers no one's ever thought to look for. So at F&M, for example, there's a student in our student body whose name is Jack, who discovered last summer with the help of a professor extragalactic pulsars. Pulsar, the source of energy in outer space, only 100 people on the history of the planet have found the pulsar. The reason this kid found that pulsar is because he worked directly with a professor of physics and astronomy, directly in his lab for 2 years, and learned how to do the mathematical equations and work the equipment necessary to make that discovery. Or 2 other kids who worked directly with a professor of ancient archaeology, who took those students to a dig in Tuscany, in Italy, where they found, after they trained how to dig, they found a postage-sized chip off a vase. These 2 kids found this chip and later learned how to date it and figured out they had found the single oldest, earliest depiction of childbirth in human history. 2 college kids at F&M. But they didn't just walk over there and pick it up. They were trained by working directly with scholars who wanted to work with them, to be able to think like a scholar. For one more example, there's a student at F&M right now named Eddie Alcina, who is working at our clinic that serves a community called the Amish, which you've probably heard about. And the Amish community, located in sort of the rural part of Pennsylvania, has a very tragic overrepresentation of dangerous illnesses in the gene pool. And because those illnesses tend to be recessive, but the gene pool doesn't have a lot of diversity, their children more often are born with very serious illnesses, blindness, born with deafness, born with Tay-Sachs, many very serious illnesses, much more overrepresented in that small, not that diverse gene pool. Well, Eddie Alcina is working in one of our labs with our professors to identify a mutation in a baby in utero, so that parents can be told that mutation is in there and then give treatment to the baby as soon as the baby is born, before the baby shows any symptoms of some of the illnesses. And thus they can mitigate the actual devastating consequences of some diseases, because we use genetic technology to counsel parents to get medical help before they know they need to get it. And not only that, but one of Eddie's classmates, Carolina, has written a booklet that she takes around to the Amish community, which doesn't really trust government very much, but is open to working with colleges and shows them what is a mutation and why should they go into the clinic and work with our gene teams. That kind of work is being done by 19 and 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds right now. And what those kids have in common with you is they have the same rigorous education you're getting here. Well, they made a choice. And the choice is to be active in partnering with the faculty to become knowledge creators. Second thing I said, you see, totally common among highly successful and highly gratified college students is the students that are focusing on building community. So each person in that campus can have a place, can have a role, can be respected, can be included, and as a whole, or the communities within the whole, create a sense of meaning and purpose and value and spirit, just like you have here. With one kid at FNM named Mike D'Antonio, who's the leader of one of our fraternities, we developed a whole program of risk management for his brothers in his fraternity, where they focus 6 times, 6 different nights over the year, once on fire safety, once on party planning, once on legal liability, what their insurance covers and doesn't cover, once on time management. Nobody told him to do that, but as a leader within a community, he's developing the kind of leadership that will allow him to do anything he wants to do in leading a company or a government or an agency. Later in life, he's learning how to take responsibility for building community. Or another kid named Cameron Miller at FNM, who has founded at FNM a spoken word club that now has got kids discovering their voices. And Cameron's gift is that he provides a setting in which other kids can flourish artistically. He just has that way of making people feel comfortable and helping them be willing to take the risk of growth by speaking their minds and knowing they can try something new out. People aren't going to laugh at them or tell them, that was bad. And that leadership is something I see at the college level. I see people doing that are so fulfilled with college experience and they take responsibility for the community. Third one is I see at the college level the kids that are incredibly gratified, that walk across the stage at commencement with tears in their eyes, who come back year after year to continue their experience, are the ones that pursue what they love in college and go to a place that lets them keep doing what they love. Some of you perform. Some of you play sports. Some of you organize community service. Some of you organize peer counseling. Some do all those things. You can go to a school where you watch everybody else do those things. Or you can go to a school where you do those things. We have a kid at FNM named Jordan McLean who we recruited to play lacrosse. He's a senior on the lacrosse team. 5th-year senior. Last year, his senior year, so his almost senior year, he decided to take drama class. And our drama professors are like professional, producers of plays. And this one he took, the woman said, "I want to cast you in a play the next semester." And so Jordan, who had never taken an acting class, suddenly is a star in a very serious play. It's about spousal abuse, playing somebody who's battering his wife. And there in the audience are all these guys on the lacrosse team, and his coach cheering him on as he takes the risk of growth. And the team is supporting him, and the college is supporting him, and the coach let him make some practices. But the point is, he wanted to do something he loved, lacrosse, and he wanted to try to grow through acting. And in some colleges, that is possible, to both do the same thing and do new things. How you combine the different activities you want to be a part of is a great asset in the college experience. Right with me today is Tommy Bergstrom. Tommy graduated from FNM last year. He is my admission leader for the state of Maryland. Tommy was a swimmer, but he also was active in campus social life. He also was the leader of our Men Dot Color group. Some college settings, he could go watch other people sing and watch other people swim. Well, what's more meaningful, doing it or watching other people? What prepares you better for leadership later, doing it or watching other people? Okay, each one of you can be that, not just that 0.0001% of the world's population that gets access to free education, but each of you can be a creator of an even smaller percentage. The kids that really get college camp. That's pretty much what your families believe you will do, which is one reason why they invested in you down in Gilman, because they believe you have that kind of unlimited growth trajectory. And that's to know what your teachers believe, which is why they're pushing you to develop your talents fully. Well, I hope you believe that. Because if you don't believe that, it doesn't matter if your parents or teachers do believe it. Because you take responsibility for your education. That's what we do, each of us. We take responsibility for it. Oh, the main thing I say today, you're left with is the idea that each of you has a power to control your education, your development, and do great things. Well, let's stop there now and ask a question or two. Yep.
Hi, I'm Ian Churchill. I'm a senior. You spoke a lot about the opportunities that students have during their 4 years as an undergrad, but with rising tuition costs, a lot of students find themselves with decades of debt afterwards. Do you think that it's necessary to spend thousands of dollars and incur thousands of dollars in debt just to get those opportunities, or are you able to change the world without it?
Of course you can change the world without going to college. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs did it. Of course you can. LeBron James is doing that. Of course you can. But what is the surest path, I believe, to developing yourself in a rounded, full way? I do think going to college is a tremendous investment in your long-term growth. You say to yourself, well, the prices of tuition are high. My answer to that is absolutely apply for financial aid. Fill out the form. Don't assume you won't get aid. Assume you will get aid. Fill it out. The best schools offer the full financing you need to complement your family's resources to be able to go to college. The best schools are need blind. They say, we will meet the need your family has. Doesn't mean you won't pay something. Doesn't mean you won't borrow something. But you don't have to borrow $50,000 or $100,000 to go to a great college and create a great education. Question? Get up. One more.
Last one.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm a senior. I have a question about do you think going to a quote-unquote top 100 college fosters a sense of elitism that would negatively affect our chances to help others?
It's not going to negatively affect your chances, but can you have elitism? Of course you can. Of course you can, in all kinds of arenas of life. But if you go to a great school and you say, I'm going to go find other great people at that school that are trying to make this world a better place, I'm going to maximize my opportunity to learn, the resources at top schools are there. Do I think you only to go to top 100 school? Of course not, no. But I do think that all across this country, there are amazing resources. And frankly, I don't know if very many people are going to not go to top schools because they're worried about them being elite. What my worry is they're going to go to top schools and think the bumper sticker is more important than the education and then not challenge themselves to grow. Thank you, everybody. It's great meeting you.